David Hall. I'm so glad you've clicked on this video because that means you want to learn about chords. It's a bit like knowing the alphabet and then suddenly learning words. You know your musical notes, but now you're going to learn some chords which are a bit like words. They make reading music quicker, understanding music. It just suddenly all starts making sense when you start learning about chords. Now these are all chords. A chord is any bunch of notes played at the same time. But I'm going to get rid of all the ones that have 4 notes. We're not going there today. And I'm going to get rid of the ones that have bigger spaces. We're just going to be left with the notes that have 1, 3 and 5. Notes 1, 3 and 5 from the scale. I call them 5/3 chords. You might also hear them being described as triads in root position. Now it's easy to spot these chords because they either go space, 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 or they go line, line, line. And these are the best chords to get to know first. When you see a chord like this, look at the lowest note, that's the name of the chord. So if the lowest note is F, if you've got F, A, C, that's a chord of F. If the lowest note is C, C, E, G, that's a chord of C. Let's look at the C major chord in a bit more detail. Here's a basic C major chord, notes 1, 3 and 5 from the scale of C major. But there are lots of ways to play this chord. They're almost like anagrams. You could have G, C, E, or you could have 2 C's and an E at the top. You could spread them out, you can cluster it up. Loads of different ways to play C major chord. And later on at the piano, you're going to try and come up with an amazing piece of music just using the notes from C major chord. Look at these particular examples. I've done all sorts of shapes in the treble clef, but in the bass clef, I've done a C. Now that means that all of these chords are in root position because the very lowest note of the texture is the only one that matters. These are C major chords in root position because the C is in the bass. Now take a look at these ones. The bass note has moved occasionally. If the C is in the bass, then we're in root position. If the E is in the bass, which is the next possibility, we say we're in the first inversion. And if the G is in the bass, we say we're in the second inversion. Sometimes we might say that the root position chord is called 1. The next possible chord is called 1B. And the next possible chord is called 1C. When you're looking for inversions of chords, always look at the very lowest note. It's nothing to do with the texture in the right hand, it's always the lowest note that matters. There'll be a lot more to learn about chords in later videos, but for now, get to know those 5/3 chords and have some fun at the piano playing with C major.
At the piano. Improvise a piece of music using just one chord. There are endless possibilities to create atmosphere using texture, rhythms, dynamics, etc.
At the piano, I'd like you to experiment with just one chord. Today I'm going to use C major chord. I'm just going to use the notes C, E and G. Don't forget you can play with dynamics, you can play with textures, you can play with moods and emotions and speeds. I'm just using C, E and G.